Hey, how you doing? This is TeamReala Sports Vlog. We're gonna get into the second show. Um, it's Saturday, 1 o'clock, so we're gonna kick it off. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons and their season. And the Pistons, I think everybody kind of expected them to have a bad year this year. Obviously with them releasing Rip and Rip signing with Chicago, and it being just a lot of young talent on that roster. I think that everybody kind of figured that they would probably be maybe 10 to 15 games below 500. I'm actually gonna hoping for that they get a little bit worse than that. I really want them to get in the top five in a lottery pick and get another good player because this that rebuilding process, which what it takes. I think Joe kind of went off and said a couple years ago when they still had Billups and Hamilton and they still had a really good core group of guys that he wanted to start getting young. But I think he realized you can't really do it unless you really blow your team up and start over from scratch. You can't just add pieces here and there and kind of do that then because people are going to want those players that you have on your team already. Like people really wanted Chauncey and people really wanted Rip. And eventually he had to really give those guys up. He held on. In my opinion, he held on to him too long. And really should have traded him for some value then, and maybe got a couple of good young guys. But I think you see different spots, different on the team. Now you look at Brandon Knight, good young point guard. He's making a lot of mistakes, which is fine by me. It's his rookie year. It's not like his third or fourth year, and it's not like he spent 3 years in college. He came out after the freshman year, so you expect those. You expect those things. Now maybe next year you don't expect as many turnovers as he got this year, but he's learning. He seems like he's a smart player. I look for him to do big things then next year too. Um, Greg Monroe had 32 points last night against the Bucks. I actually got to watch pretty good portion of that game, and it was a pretty decent game. The Pistons couldn't never really catch up with them, but it's just it was just a loss. Greg Monroe did drop down like 32 points, like 15, 16 boards, so he looked nice with that. But like I said, Brandon Knight doing 20 with that, so that's 52 points just from those two young guys. Really, I kind of expected Tayshaun to step up a little bit more, him being the vet on the team. But I guess you get what you get from Tayshaun. Might get 10 one night, might get 25 one night. You never know with him. But he's been that way his whole career. Um, that's just how he's always been. They still need a bench. They need to decide what they're gonna do with Villanueva, um, which I don't even think they really want him. I think they're really looking to trade him. But you know, it is what it is with that situation. Um, you know, the rest of the NBA, I think the season really people are not really kind of latching on like I kind of thought they would. With basketball being back, some people did, are back watching it, and the NBA is back. But I think the lockout kind of hurt it just a little bit. I don't think people will really start focusing in on it until the NFL season is all the way complete after the Super Bowl. I think that's when people will really start focusing in on that one. But the rest of the league I think the teams that you thought that would be good are pretty good. We thought LA would be, pretty good, pretty decent team out the West. They are. The Spurs are looking pretty decent out there in the West. Dallas is kind of getting their legs back after starting out this, gate real slow. Miami's looking real nice. Boston is, one of those scary teams you never know. They're kind of like the Pistons were a while back. They're that team that you always have to worry about because you never know. Is this a year that they can make it back to the finals and win it all again? That's the same way we worried about the Pistons. When they went to the finals, to the Eastern Conference Finals 6 straight years. Um, so I think like I say, LeBron played last night. They've been on a three-game losing streak. He dropped 35 against the Nuggets. But I think the Nuggets are one of those teams where offensively they can put up 120 points in a blink of an eye, and you really don't want to get into that with them. You have to really make them, play you and play your kind of game. If you're going to play offensively, play their game, that's their game. The Nuggets are one of the best offensive teams in the league. They have no problem scoring points, even then they're without even Smith this season. So they still have players there that can put points up at any given moment. So you gotta always be mindful of that. You gotta play defense. You gotta stop those guys. You gotta play those guys real tough. Um, you know, my Blazers, man, they started off the gate strong, nice 7-1 strong, and then lost three. Now they lost to Spurs. Like I said, they're another good team out west. Lost to the Spurs last night. Aldridge kind of held it down by itself, dropped 29. The next closest player was like 13. I think Remy Felton doing 13 last night. But they're another young team. I think they're just trying to all gel together. You know, when you got that new point guard, it takes a little bit of a minute, for all the guys to kind of get there. But that's no problem. That'll happen again over time. Um, Chicago was looking real nice. Rose came back, dropped 25 last night, really kind of like on one ankle, and he looked real nice playing that last night. And they got a kind of nice little win. Like I say, Chicago's going to be that team that's going to put the numbers up, put the stats up. I just don't think they have. Just they're missing something. Even with Rip there, they're still missing something to get them over the hump. I still don't think they can win a championship. I don't think they can beat any good team like a Miami or even a Boston, man, in a 7-game series. It's gonna be tough for them to do it. But Rose, man, you got the heart of a lion, so you never really know with that. NFL playoffs was popping off this week, man. We got the Saints and Niners going. I kind of think the Saints are going to win that game just because the Niners can't put up points. And if you give Breeze time and the way that offensive line is playing for the Saints right now, man, them boys look real nice. They really was able to get a lot of passes off against our Lions last week and kind of demolish them in that second half. And really, he kind of got what he wanted in that first half. But I think if they can do the same thing again, chip them ends off with them tight ends, they can do the same thing to the 49ers. So I expect them guys to win, probably put up like 35 to 40 points against the Niners. The Niners can't put up points like that. They can play some defense, but like I said, it's gonna be a good game. We'll let it be played out on today at 4:30. Then we got Denver and New England going on tonight at 8. That's gonna be a interesting game. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a good game because you never know which Tebow gonna show up. It could be the Tebow that ended the season on a 3-game losing streak, or it could be the Tebow last week who fighting for everything and trying to put the whole world on his back and carry him. So you never really know with Tebow. You never really know what you're gonna get. But you just have to watch and see. I still think New England's gonna pull out with the win on that one because like I said, Tom Brady can put the points up, man. And even though their defense is ranked last, they still think they're gonna come to play the playoffs. It's a new season, so you never know with that. But like I say, Brady should pull that out. Then tomorrow you got Houston and Baltimore. I think Baltimore got a chance of pulling that out, even though they can't put up points. They struggle, but Houston, kind of one of the iffy teams. They kind of gonna go on a ride, and then they're not playing at home, so. Like I say, Baltimore should pull that one out. And then you got New York and Green Bay. Um, Interesting game. New York won a couple years ago up there to get to a Super Bowl, and obviously winning when they beat the Patriots. You never really know with Eli too. He's one of those guys that you just never really know which Eli gonna kind of show up and show out, man. So we'll see. Let it be played out. That game I really don't know. I really don't like Green Bay, so I want them to lose. And I want New York to win. So I guess I'm gonna be rooting for New York. I'm gonna say go ahead and go Giants. But those are my picks. I got the Saints going, beating off the Niners. I got Denver losing to New England. I got the Houston losing to Baltimore, and I got New York beating um, Green Bay in the close one. And that's it, man. Sports blog show. It was more detailed this time, more topics. If I had more guests, my boy John couldn't make it today. We couldn't leak up, but definitely look out for the next show. Maybe he'll make it. We'll see what we can do. More guests coming soon, man. Want to thank everybody for checking me out on YouTube and checking me out on Facebook because I'm always gonna post it up there. Thanks for watching TeamReala show. Appreciate it. There's a TeamReala beat right here too.